Good morning, everyone. This is Dana Wilson with Keller Williams Realty, and I just want to welcome you to today's special Zoom Savvy Seniors Living webinar. And as many of you know, we usually meet at the Lafayette Library once a month. We are going into our fourth full year bringing you a monthly seminar on a variety of different topics. And we just hope that over the years you've come away with some nuggets and good information. And as a reminder, the whole purpose of these seminars is to educate, inform, and empower our attendees and participants so that you are able to make the very best choices for yourselves and your future based on your lifestyle, your needs, your wants, and enable you to create sort of a present and a future plan. So I know I'm always on my soapbox saying, please be thinking about your current and future plan. So again, I'm Dana Wilson, and I am with the Dana Wilson Real Estate team. And we learned a long time ago that there is a very special group of folks that we call our boomers, zoomers, and savvy seniors that needed some special TLC. And that is why we have undertaken creating a comprehensive plan and suite of services that can help our clients from everything from soup to nuts, A to Z, beginning to end. And the panelists that we have today are part of our extended team. But first and foremost, I want to call out our wonderful sponsors that without our sponsors, we would not be able to present these seminars. So I am going to attempt, let's see here. Well, what we're going to do, I'm going to just go over a little housekeeping first of all. We have got a poll at the bottom of your screen. So if you hover over the bottom of your screen, you'll see some different icons. So the last 5 minutes, we'll send a poll your way, and it'll have some questions. We'd love to get your input and answers to those. I will also be sending a follow-up email, and we'll provide you with not only all the sponsors' contact information, but also the names and numbers and contact information for the panelists that we have on our seminar today. So you'll get all of the goodies that you need and require. You can also email me any additional questions that we don't cover today, but we're going to try to cover the gamut and see how far we get today, because we've shortened this from our normal hour and a half to an hour. All right, so hopefully you're sitting on your couch in your fuzzy slippers, drinking a cup of coffee, and you're just ready to learn something new. So again, welcome to everybody. I'm hearing some noise in the background, so I don't know whose that is, but we will get going here. So first of all, I'm going to say that many of you in the room have at one time or another been tasked with assisting somebody with the liquidation of an estate. Maybe you've handled a family member's estate, or you've wanted to help a friend with handling his or her family-related liquidation. Or I think even probably more probable is because we are living through this very interesting time with COVID and shelter in place, and we all have our shelter in place buddies, hopefully. You've decided that you might have too much clutter. You actually might have too much stuff after all, now that you've been living with it and among it for months now. And so when you think about clutter, what comes to mind first? Think about your own space, not somebody else's, but your own space. So hopefully you've thought a little bit about what you want to learn today. And as these burning questions come up, we'll hopefully see those typed in the Q&A. So you can send us questions on the bottom and in the Q&A. And I know some of the attendees today are very astute at these Zoom webinars, and you've been Zooming your bingo group and your church groups and your yoga groups and your BFFs on Fridays. And some of you may be on Zoom for the first time. So you know what? This isn't going to be perfect, but it's going to be real. We'll give you that. It's going to be real. So we're going to kind of cover clutter for the folks that are still, living at home and they don't intend to move. And we're going to cover estate liquidation for those that think that, you know what, maybe down the road we are going to move. Or maybe you've been in your home so long, you want to move now. Like, it's time. You're over this. You either need a bigger home with more space, or you've decided you don't need such a big house because you're really only living in the 4 rooms that you spend the most time in. So let's get rocking and a rolling. And first of all, I am going to introduce and ask them to actually introduce themselves, our panelists. So Jennifer Raptis, share your name and your title and the services that you and your organization provide, please.
Thank you, Dana. My name is Jennifer Raptis, and we are a senior move manager company. It's called Efficiency Matters. I started in 2015. I actually came up with the idea because of a situation that my mother went through, and she ended up getting very ill and had to liquidate and move to a smaller place. And it was a bad experience for her. So my hope is to try to make that experience better for everyone since then. We help people from decluttering, whether you're going to stay where you are or whether you're going to downsize. We do pre-move organization. We help you on move day with managing the movers and making sure everything is, you've done your space planning, as well as after you have moved, we can unpack and organize part of or your entire house when you get there.
So you can set up my new home when I've moved?
I can set up your new home where you are cooking spaghetti and you're going to bed in a bed you didn't even have to make.
All right, you're hired. And how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this since 2015, so about 5 years.
Awesome, awesome. And Vicki, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and what services you provide.
Okay, so my name is Vicki Kearsey. I am the owner of Beehive Estate Sales. We've been around for about 4 years now. We have 3 services. Our estate sale, which could be mainly someone who's moving out of their home and downsizing or moving across the country. The second one is full-blown estate liquidation, meaning someone has passed. Or the third is consignment, where we will remove an item or a collection from someone's home and sell that through our estate sale that we're currently holding.
Oh, that's awesome. And we're going to get more into all the details, all the nitty gritty as we go on today. Derek, who are you? Who are you and what do you do and how long have you done it?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining, first and foremost. I'm Derek Torres. I'm the Senior Vice President at Clark's Auction Gallery. I've been in the industry for over 30 years now. It's hard to believe. I'm a partner at the gallery. We represent clients and estates, both large and small, from coast to coast. We're the largest full-service gallery in the Western United States, and our internet exposure is larger than any other auction gallery, surprisingly. So the sales since COVID have been off the charts. People are sitting at home, spending money, and all of our sales are virtual. So it's nice to have some employees back, but we were doing it with 8 employees, 8 senior managers.
And how many do you usually have?
37.
Oh my gosh. And your sales are off the chart.
Yes, yes. So
that's awesome. See, and you know what? I'm going to ask for silver linings today, by the way, because there are a lot of silver linings, even in this weird, wacky world we're living in. But so Derek, how do you determine if you and a client are a good fit? What factors do you weigh out when making that decision? If you're going to work with someone, accept their items, and is that determined by the size or, first of all, tell us more about, I think people don't understand exactly what you do.
So an auction is we take property on consignment,
Okay.
then we sell it on behalf of the client. And when I meet with clients, the first thing I have to ask myself is, would I sell this at auction? Because it's dependent upon which market is better for the client. And sometimes I go into an estate, and an estate sale is the best market for the client's personal property. Other estates need more exposure, and that's what we can provide. I try and set my clients' sites realistically, and I do not paint a silver lining if there's not one to be painted, because that's the worst thing to do, is to give someone a false sense of hope. They're living with property that they love, and we can't talk down about personal property because it's still someone's cherished possessions. And so there's a tactful way to make your point. If there are pieces that are suitable for auction, but a majority of the estate is suitable for an estate sale, that's what I recommend. And both estate sales and move managers are wonderful, wonderful outlets. And the third thing I do is I encourage them to also interview other galleries, and I go into an estate and I'm confident with what I say, and I think that interviewing gives the client a better idea of, oh no, my mom said this is worth $5,000 and Derek said it's only worth 50. I have to interview other people to make sure it's only worth 50. If we even get to that point. And then I explain the difference between an estate sale and an auction. Auctions are completely different. We start low and go high, depending upon the market. However, estate sales start high and go low. So, I mean, different markets provide a different service,
That is really interesting. So how, is there any size of item that you just can't handle?
No, there's no size that we can't handle. I almost sold a yacht, but it fell apart at the end. So no, there's no size that we cannot handle. And there's no size estate that we can't handle. I had estates that we had to take two 52-foot truckloads of property off of Nantucket Island in November. And so there's no size. There's no size.
So that's perfect segue into my next question, which is what locations do you cover? Like, how far will you drive to work with someone, or is it all done virtually? Like, if you have to go see something in person to estimate the value or the authenticity, tell us about that.
Well, I'm going to be in Santa Fe next week looking at 2 estates and a gallery that's going out of business. So I don't hesitate to jump on an airplane and go wherever the client wishes. And we have our own logistics team, so we bring the property back with our own team. I had someone who has a successful estate sale business, and he wanted to get into also the logistics side. And he said to me, how can you go to Seattle and bring a 30-foot bobtail full of property back and only charge the client $1,000? And I said, we lose money on our logistics. We do it as a courtesy. It's more to bring the property to market if it's suitable for an auction environment. In some cases, when I do travel, I say, keep it local. You don't need our services, and if it's like Los Angeles, I'll refer a Los Angeles gallery or an estate sale, going back to the right market for the personal property that the client has.
So do you do that often, that are other galleries and CLARs referring to each other?
Yes, and estate sales, and move managers. I work with every different market, and to give you an idea of how the internet has changed and how wide internet exposure is so important today. Last month, we sold a suite of Andy Warhol lithographs of Mick Jagger, and the last suite sold at Christie's for $450,000, and ours brought $817,000. So it's pretty fun stuff. It's pretty fun.
So Derek, who is your typical client?
Typical client, it could be a client with one item. It could be a client with an entire estate. Typically, it's also clients that are downsizing. And, I work with a lot of clients downsizing. Someone reached out to me. They were in like Minnesota and they had a wonderful, wonderful collection of contemporary furniture by a maker named George Nakashima. Great, great furniture. They tried to give it to their children and their children didn't want it. And I thought, why is someone that far away contacting me for this furniture? It turned out they were moving to Rossmore. So, so that was why, and wonderful, wonderful couple. It was a pleasure to work with them. So if the clients all have different needs and all have different expectations. And that's why it's so important that I am point blank with my clients. I let them know exactly what services I can provide. And if it's a good fit, I follow the process through from the start to the end. So at some galleries, there may be someone that goes to the home and speaks about the gallery, and then they pass it on to someone else and someone else. So they never really are connected with the person they initially met. And we just do it a different way. But I think that is so important that we are honest and open with our clients, and B, refer them to the right market for their personal property.
That is awesome. And, that is the same standard of practice that our team follows too, that we want to always be honest and open and truthful, even when it might not be what they want to hear. But we're there again to help them reach their goal, whatever that may be. And maybe it is to declutter while they're living there, or, they're faced with liquidating a loved one's estate. And by the way, we should probably point out that an estate sale doesn't always happen after someone's passed away, right? So Jennifer, tell us about a client that would be a good fit for you. And let's break it into two. Let's talk about that client that is not planning on making a move, but has become overwhelmed while they've been sheltering in place by all their stuff, because I have some attendees today that very specifically wanted you to discuss that. How can they control their clutter while they're living at home? Just talk about a client that would be a good fit. Some factors, if you would accept working on that project with them, and who that typical client would be to declutter. And then we're going to take that and talk about the scenario of someone actually doing a downsizing move and needing to do an estate liquidation, and then how you work with the Vicky and the Dereks of the world. So
thank you. If my client would like to remain in their home and they aren't downsizing, but they have gotten to the point where they're looking around and maybe they've lived there for 40 years and really haven't done this process, there's different ways that I can help them. One of them is if they'd like to start the process themselves and they want to try to do that without hiring help, they want to get it going. I have a very particular order that I go in when I help someone downsize, and it goes by categories. I can provide any of your attendees today with a list. If they just send me a note, I'll send them out. It's called How to Sort and Why. And the first piece of advice is that when you're sorting by category, go in the order that I suggest, because the last category that you get to is the most emotional category. It's an emotional process anyway, but if you start with things that are less sentimental and you sort of get the hang of going through it, that's always a little bit easier. So we start with having them go through categories, and what you want is you want your 4 boxes that are already set up in the room. You need a staging area, because when you go through this process, it can be a bit messy until, especially right now during COVID, when it's a little harder to get donations out the door. So you want to set it up in a room that you have some space that you're not in and out of every day.
Jennifer, may I interrupt? Are
Yeah.
you taking clients now? Can you be that person to help them set all this up? Are you doing it virtually?
I am working directly with clients. We follow a very strict protocol with our masks. We ask our clients to wear the masks. We have gloves.
Okay.
We stay 6 feet apart. We prefer if they're even in the other room. But yes, I'm absolutely helping them now.
Perfect. Sorry to interrupt, but I thought that was important to interject. So, okay, so we've got our 4 boxes and we've got our staging area and we're going to get messy.
And you're going to get messy, and just know that that's what it's going to look like. And it's not a project that you're going to be able to wrap up each day and have everything back to normal. It's going to be ongoing. My first recommendation is that whether you are staying where you are or you're going to be downsizing, call or email every friend or family member that might have an interest in any of your items that you no longer want. Having them aware of these things, they'll know your plans and they'll start thinking about whether or not they can take anything that you maybe don't want. There is a funny story about a couple that were downsizing, and they did this same thing with, they emailed all of their friends and family, and they invited a huge amount of people over for Thanksgiving. And everybody got there, and the entire table was covered with items. And she said to everyone, everything here on the table is for you guys to take. Whoever would like whatever they want, take it today. And when the table is clear, I will serve dinner. So
That's a great story.
It's a great story. I love that story because family members need a deadline. They need to know that you are serious. This is happening, because it's also emotional for their children. When your parents are going to downsize their home, or if they're moving, it feels funny to a child, no matter if you're 60 or if you're 30. So letting everybody know, they can start thinking about what goes out, because often what is happening is, you mentioned it at the beginning, our children don't always want our large furniture and our collections and our china. I know my kids, of the millennials, they live a different life, and they live a life of, they're minimalists and they want experiences. And so it's good to know ahead of time, if you've been saving these collections, to let your kids check and see if they would still like them. And so after we go through the initial boxes, and the reason we do it in categories is because it's much easier to know what you don't need if you know what quantity you have. An example would be, a silly one is, if you go in your kitchen and you've got 17 spatulas, it's easy to give 13 of them away because you know you have you know what you have. But going through a spatula and then a fork, and then it makes it much harder. And that's another way we can help, is we can group those categories together. If you physically need help doing that, we can bring those together to make the decision making a little bit easier. And then after that, the donation, our next step would be to see if there's things suitable for auction for Derek, or suitable for an estate sale for Vicki.
Awesome. I just want to throw this in, that there is a definition of clutter. I thought I would just, share this with all of us. As a noun, it is said to be a disorderly heap or assemblage, litter, a state or condition of confusion. And as a verb, it means to cover or fill something with an untidy collection of things. So I think all of us really can relate to this, because even if our home, we all have a what's it drawer. Even if you have a what's it drawer, you've got clutter, right, in that what's it drawer. I just hope that family was able to eat Thanksgiving dinner. I'm still worried about that family.
Depends on how hungry the kids were.
Well, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to Vicky now, and then we'll go back and we'll talk more about the estate liquidation services and how that is different than someone that is planning on staying put. Okay. So Vicky, we want to ask you, how do you and your team determine if a client is a good fit?
Mhm.
And what factors do you weigh out? And then let's talk a little bit about size of sale, dates and times, location, how far out will you go? I don't know if you're going to go to Nantucket like Derek did, or
I'd love to.
or I know. I'm by the way, Derek, I am going to go to Santa Fe with you. Okay, I'm just telling you right off the bat. And then maybe tell us who that typical client is for you, Vicky. So why don't you give us some insight?
So first of all, the initial contact, we chat on the phone. And so there are location restrictions. So we are in the East Bay. We're located out of Moraga, and it's kind of a 12 or 15 mile circle around that we can go to. So we chat with the client first and foremost. If the location isn't an area that we service, I will certainly make recommendations. If it is an area that we service, we continue to chat. We're typically, so right now we are booked up into September, early September. So we are booked out quite far in advance. So if they need someone in 2 weeks, that's not going to be us. So of course the calendar is important too. And then what is their goal is, so at that point I would go and meet with them. So we go and I go to the home. Of course, we have this COVID situation, so we are all in our masks, wearing either hand sanitizer. But we basically walk through the home and identify what items the family are going to take, and what items they would like to sell. For some people, everything is for sale. Other people, there are particular things that the family have identified, and which is perfectly fine. So then we can assess, is this enough of a sale for us to be able to conduct? One of the factors about the location is it accessible? Is there parking? Is it a private road? And so on and so forth. Is it a safe environment for multiple people to come? Because of course, we're attracting a lot of people to this sale. In fact, Beehive is the most viewed estate sale website in the country. So we are selling not only to people who attend our sales, but if there's a one-of-a-kind item that they see in our advertising, we can actually ship that, and we do regularly across the country. So a good fit really is someone who's clear on what they would like. They would like, their plan is to move and downsize, or they are the trustee of an estate that they need to liquidate. And we will basically sit down and prepare a customized plan of how we're going to do this. If there are items in the home that need to be picked up after the estate sale, we can coordinate that. So basically we're just working through all the details, with the light fixtures for sale, or the rugs for sale, or the, washing, all the electronics, all the appliances. So we get all the details down that are necessary to make sure every single detail is done the way they would like it. If it looks like it's a good fit, and that the client has reasonable expectations after we clearly speak with each other about what we're able to do, and never, it's one of those things that it's a difficult process to go through, but I always find once we've chatted, they're so relieved. They just know that someone is going to be able to take care of all these items for them. So when we come into the home, we are actually going to set it up like a little store. So it's going to be really cute. Everything's going to be cleaned. Everything's going to be categorized. Everything's going to be easy for the customer to look around and identify what they'd like. Everything is priced. And if applicable, it'll be appraised. So all those things that are normally important to people, these are all things that we do. So there's no need to worry about identifying something that has some value or identifying something that doesn't have value. We can actually sell anything in the home. We can sell, obviously we're looking to sell higher priced, exciting items that people are going to be excited about to come to the home. But while they're there, they'll buy the sheets and the towels, the pots and pans, you know, your dishwasher, you know, your washing machine, a refrigerator. So it all will go. So we will sell through about 80 to 90% of everything in that house. So your garden shed, your garage, and by the end of it, when we're all done, we will bring in our charitable partners who then we donate those items to that haven't sold. They give the receipts and we hand that over to the client. All the items that have not been sold or donated will then be hauled. So it's someone who's really looking for that full service. I mean, we can do all of it, none of it, you know, but most people, if their goal is to sell the home and move on, I think this is the easiest way. They don't need to be involved. We'll take good care of them and then hand it over to their realtor to work their magic next.
Awesome. So assuming that an estate sale makes sense to you and the client, we might as well go right to the, you know, elephant in the room. What are the fees? People need to leave today knowing what do all these wonderful services and
Right.
sales and liquidation processes cost them. So what fees are there and what do they include or not exclude? And maybe if you would be so kind as to speak in general terms, if you could, in the industry in general, because I'm assuming that most estate sale companies are going to need to be competitive in some sort and kind of charge the same range. So are they hourly? Are they based on the project? Are they bundled? So why don't we talk about that real quick?
Well, I can speak for us. We actually don't have any upfront costs. So everything is on commission. So we get a commission of the sales at the total end. So if it's our minimum is 45%. So those items would be at 45% if a customer had jewelry or artwork, you know, high-end crystal rugs, that type of thing, they would be at that level. Also, we sell motorbikes, boats, automobiles, and so on. All those, that would be the rate. Now, if it's a particularly higher model, then we would negotiate the commission on a single item. But we draw a lot of people in, and those are the kind of items we're looking for to draw as many people in as we need to sell all the items. So we charge a commission. There is no payment for us to partner with our charities, clearing and everything. The only expense that the homeowner would have would be the charge that we're given for the hauling. So it's the commission and it's the hauling of those are kind of the main expenses. When you do estate sales, you do have to pay sales tax. So you are allowed, everybody is allowed a small number of sales that they're allowed to conduct without sales tax, but obviously we far exceed that. And so we do have to pay sales tax.
So you're paying the sales tax out of your commission?
So how we deal with the sales tax is when we are pricing items, we are taking the sales tax into consideration. So we are, instead of, okay, that's a $5 item and let's add sales tax, we look to the item and say, okay, well, we'll go $6 on that item. And then the person will pay $6 and then it's taken out of the back end.
Got it.
So it's a much smoother transition when we're selling, which is a very busy process, as you can imagine.
Okay. Derek, talk to us a little bit about your fees, because I know your gallery offers a lot of different services. I mean, there's item evaluation, there's online auctions, consignments, you work with estates and trusts, you're traveling to Seattle and Nantucket and Santa Fe, or you're driving to Piedmont. Could you share a little bit about your fees and what they include and what they don't include?
Sure. So our fees are dependent upon what each lot sells for. A lot could be a single item, or it could be a dining room set or a silver flatware service. Our lowest threshold is 8%, and that's for a lot that sells for over 20,000. We don't encourage any lots at 100 or under. I don't think an auction environment's the correct market for that. On average, if the lot is 100 to 1,000, it's 29%. If the estate is in the six figures, we offer a flat rate, which could be as low as 0, or it could be, on average, 5%. We don't charge photography fees or any upfront fees, including logistics. It's all taken out of commission. It's all taken out of the proceeds. So we send our proceeds out every 6 weeks. So after the auction, we'll send proceeds out 6 weeks. Difference between that and other galleries charge photography fees, online upload fees, and a lot of hidden fees. So, it may look good initially, like it's a low commission, but by the time you get your check, there were a lot of hidden fees taken out of there. We do have insurance on everything we sell. Everything we consign has insurance. So if something gets damaged, it's covered with our insurance. So that's a little different, and some of the higher value items are what I recommend. We all want to sell the higher value items. Being a full service gallery, what that means is we also take the items that are less desirable to the market as a courtesy to the estate, and we clear out what Vicky was referring to, and which I think is a great service that estate sales provide, is a broom sweep in the industry, or getting it ready for the realtor. We can provide that in certain cases. In other cases, we pass that cost on to the client. We'll take care of it, but that cost would be also taken out. We typically don't get into a lot of broom sweeps unless it's a high profile estate. And again, it goes back to the internet exposure. And our bidding is in real time, every auction gallery. So it can be in real time on the computer, on the mobile phone. They can be on the phone, literally, or leave absentee bids. And typically when we have people in the gallery, they can also bid live like you've seen on TV. They're not like cattle auctions. It's not like someone's really talking fast and you can't understand them, but quite the contrary. If an item is getting a lot of bids, especially from all of our online platforms, myself and all the other auctioneers actually slow it down so that we make sure that we get all those bids. Because, in fact, on that Warhol suite, when I was calling it, I slowed it way down. I think we had 15 phone bidders on that suite. Slowed it way down. It was probably a 3-minute lot. And in the end, when I slowed it way down, it meant another $100,000. So,
that's pretty good, making $100,000 in 3 minutes. That's pretty good.
Our goal is for the seller, we're always going to find a buyer. It's having the property to sell. And I think, Vicky, you would agree, we need the property in order to sell the property. So,
Nice. Excellent. That's very helpful. And so, Jennifer, talk about your fees for organizing or move management, and are they different? Are they paid up front or at the end of the project? And will you get paid out of escrow when we're selling the home?
I'm very flexible about payment. We're not selling anything, so we are not working on any commission basis. We work at an hourly rate. If you want one organizer, we discount the rate for seniors to $75 an hour. And if you want us to come in and bring a team of 2 or 3, then the rate goes down per organizer. So what you can do, if I think the project will be a 10-hour project, 2 people will take 5 hours to do it. If you want somebody. Often my clients would like to work one-on-one with me. They don't want the chaos and a bunch of people in and out. They want to know what's going on. I typically take payment at the end. I have a service agreement that I have clients sign, and that's really all we require. And as far as a typical clean out and what it could end up costing, it is not based on the size of the house. It is based on how fast the clients can make decisions and how much is in the house. One of the questions I always ask if it's a client that would like an entire house is I ask them, do you park your cars in the garage? Because if they don't, that it indicates to me their garage is completely full, and often clients won't think about their garage, and that can end up being a third of the cost of the hours, because those are all the things they've forgotten they owned that really they want to touch one more time before they make a decision on.
So your fees per hour are the same whether you're organizing for them to stay put, or if they're going to be if you're doing move management to. And by the way, we probably should share with our attendees today what move manager, what they do, right? Because a move management company typically, and I think you did in the very beginning, but when we're helping people to make a move, move management is helping folks decide. Part of what Jennifer could do is helping them decide what they're going to take with them, and then what they're going to leave behind, and then what they're leaving behind is what we're going to help liquidate.
Correct.
So it's completely different. And organizing, you can organize in the new home, or you could organize their new setup when they get moved in, but it's a little different.
It is a little different. We offer pre-move services, which entail space planning. We can help you. We take the floor plan of your new place when we're doing the moving. We'll measure your furniture, decide what it is you're going to take, what will fit. I have forms and easy ways for you to plan on what rugs you want to take, what artwork will fit. We put the room where we've got the electrical outlets in there for you, so you have to put the TV on this side, not. So we go through all those details in a pre-move situation. We go through the downsizing so that you aren't paying to pack and move things that you don't need or want on the other side. And then we also can help you coordinate a mover, haulers. We can help set you up with an estate sale, with auction, and with donations. So we can really do, and then of course the packing. We come in and do the packing, and where we're different than a moving company that will come in and pack for you is that we offer more of a white glove packing service. I am a 100% woman-owned business, and we are very careful and very meticulous about the way we handle your things. So that's kind of the difference. And then on move day, if you would like us to help be the move coordinator, if you don't want to deal with the movers coming in and out, we can help manage the mover. We will set up as much as you'd like on the day that you move in. We can set the kitchen up. If you want to do just part of it, most clients would like me to set their kitchen up. So we set the kitchen up, we take all the boxes away, so they can come in the first day and at least be more settled instead of coming into a room full of boxes. And then afterwards, any kind of organizing or any kind of service that you need after that, we're available after the move as well.
Awesome. You know what? Dang, I'm having a good time. I have so many questions left to ask, and it's already 25 minutes. I mean, we're 15 minutes to conclusion. So I'm going to step things up. I want to make sure, because some people do have some questions for us. But I want to cover a few more questions. So Vicki, what options do you provide to those that are not a fit for your services? Like, for instance, if they don't have enough to justify a sale, and when are buyout services recommended? Like, is there a number? Is it the overall value? And then how often are you able to take someone's things that maybe they don't have enough for a full sale and mix them in with other people? Because I know not all estate sale companies do that.
No, they don't. A good question. So if you don't have enough for an estate sale and you have items that we feel will enhance someone else's estate sale, we will take those items, and it would be a consignment. So that would be, we would remove them, we would promote them in someone else's estate sale, and make sure that all those items, when sold, are you will receive payment for those items. So we're able to separate it out. We have a staff of 12, so we have a fairly large staff for an estate sale company. And again, I would go out, so you're always going to meet me. I will go out and meet and take a look, and we can chat about what items. Sometimes it's a single collection, other times it's a broader grouping of items. And you know, we will, if we're taking items and we feel like we have space in the home, we'll take additional items that, you know, maybe some nicer dishes or pots and pans, and newer items, even items for the garage. If we feel like, you know, let's just take it, we're here, we'll take those items also and attempt to sell them. And then we decide with the customer if you want to donate what is not sold or have it returned to you, or, you know, what do you want us to do? So again, those it's all customized. We can just sit down and decide what is it you would like. We actually never do a buyout. So we are doing one house at a time. Our full focus is on that home. Our full purpose is to sell those items the best we can for that client that week. We have our own website. We have an extensive email list. We pay to go on other people's websites. We do social media, which makes us the largest viewed estate sale company in the country. So it's all through photography. So those items are also through photography. But a buyout means that you would like us to come and purchase it all. We have nowhere to sell that. So some estate sale companies have a store or a warehouse. For me, I feel it's a bit of a conflict of interest. I don't want to move anything somewhere else. My focus is to sell those items on site at the home that I said I'm going to sell it, and sell those items and then give the proceeds away. So I don't do that. I don't know if other estate sale companies do, but I would think maybe some do, but not us.
So you just, and one of the questions I was going to ask you, but you already answered it, is what is the difference? Because if anyone is here, and I bet you if we ask for a show of hands, if anyone has ever done a garage sale and I asked you, would you ever do it again? I think the overwhelming answer would be no way, no. Because you just explained the very difference between a garage sale where you're going to get 50 cents for this book and $1 for this, and an estate sale with the marketing and the setup and the pricing and all those other things, because we don't know what our things are worth. Okay, so I want to get to some fun things, because I've got some questions too that we want to make sure that we're going to answer. But Derek, because I know you've shared this with us before, tell us what some of the weirdest things have been that you have been able to auction off. We just want to know. We want to know.
The weirdest thing was a mummy hand. That was the weirdest thing. It came from the Huntington Library, and the rest of the collection went to London to be sold, and they couldn't export the hand, so it had to be sold in this country. So he handled the hand, and that was the weirdest thing for sure.
That is weird.
Hands down, that was the weirdest.
Yeah. I think you probably just won. So, and then while I've got you, what are some of the items that are, what are people really looking for? Like, what's really popular that you know every time it's going to sell? And then what items have you sold that you were really surprised about?
Well, contemporary anything is hot. So contemporary furniture, contemporary art. The thing I was most surprised about happened not too long ago, because it was an Edwardian drawleaf table that typically sells for $300. And I don't know why this particular one sold for $5,000. And that is what happens when two people want something. It was so shocking. The former owner came to the gallery, and I said, guess how much that sold for? And he said, $300. And why is it over here? I said, no, $5,000. So you just never know. You just never know.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Well, I mean, the same thing happens when we're selling the home, right? If we price it right and we start getting multiple offers, we get that auction effect just like you do. And it's
Right.
fabulous. And people are shocked sometimes. But if everybody wants that home. Now, what surprises me, Derek, is you did not mention mid-century modern. You said contemporary. What's going on with the mid-century modern craze?
Well, Danish modern has pretty much eclipsed mid-century American furniture in a big way. For example, we had a Danish modern, it's called a chieftain chair. It was designed by Finn Yule, that we got out of an estate actually, and it brought $81,000. So some lump Danish modern with mid-century, but they are two completely different animals, and they're different designers, and they bring different money. You know?
Interesting, interesting. Vicki, what's the weirdest thing that you've ever found in one of your estate sales? And then what is very popular that you know every single time is going to sell?
Well, we always sell the things that really draw people to our estate sales are jewelry and cars and cool motorbikes, you know, some nicer crystal. They always go. I mean, definitely contemporary furniture, artwork, but we, you know, also do well with mid-century modern as well. Those are always, you know, they always sell, and certain makers and manufacturers are way more popular than others. Last week, so I'll give you a story about 3 old t-shirts. One of them, the Grateful Dead, and 2, Art Garfunkel, 3 t-shirts. You would normally look at these t-shirts and, you know, most people would pass on wearing them because they were well worn. But the Grateful Dead t-shirt sold for $65, and the other 2 for $45 and $50. And we had, I don't know, maybe 25 people coming in for those t-shirts. So it's really a matter of identifying. So a lot of people would just think that's an old t-shirt, that's $1. So we are searching for gold, and obviously we know that those kind of things are very popular and get people through the door. So of course, while they're here for their Grateful Dead t-shirt, they will buy other things while they're there.
Interesting. I'm going to go to some questions because we are running out of time. So I am seeing, and this is one for, this is a good one for Jennifer. Somebody really, after being sheltered in place, is looking for breathable space, more room for breathable space. And, you know, clutter can affect us physically and mentally, can't it? So tell us to be specific about that concern. What, and let's make this really quick, guys. What solution could she focus on, and where should she start?
She should start with the things that are showing and that are out. So in other words, a junk drawer that's closed, don't start with that. Start with, if it's in your family room and you are looking around, and I would take, let's say you have a lot of things on one particular top of a piece of furniture. Trust me on this. Take everything off that furniture, put it on your kitchen table, and look at it one by one. And then when you decide what's worthy to go back, then take it back. Perfect. When you look at your items out of their habitat, where they've always lived, you will look at them differently.
Yes.
And you may just love the fact that you have cleared off the entire table all at once, and you may just want it like that for a little while.
Yeah. That's breathable space.
Breathable space.
Okay, I don't know who can handle this or if there is a market for this, so I'm going to open this up. Can anyone sell, are you ready, a large Hummel collection of 60 figures? Do they sell? Can anyone help with that? Hummel.
Well, I'm probably the one to answer that. So, you know, they have declined in price, but we do sell them. People will attend an estate sale to purchase Hummels, and Hummels are, of course, small enough for us to ship across country for other people's collections. You know, each one we have to look at for the age and condition. So yes, those cute little figurines, they still are sellable, but you do not get anywhere near as much as you used to for them.
Awesome. Okay. Derek or possibly Vicky, is it worth it to go through one of you to auction a 280Z 1978 classic model in good condition?
Yes. Undeniable. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
So yes, cars sell.
Mhm.
We've shipped cars as far away as Norway.
Good Lord. You get around, Derek.
They really sell. So,
Interesting.
Yes, they do.
Okay, Vicky, what about Delft? DELFT.
Yeah, it's there. You know, again, it's the same kind of genre as Hummels. Um, they are sweet pieces. People still collect those pieces. They're not as popular as they used to be, but yes, as long as they're in good condition, those kind of items can be consigned in an estate sale.
And I've got a couple of questions for myself, but I'm going to go to another one. What would you recommend for specialty items like Asian art and calligraphy collection or sculpture? How would someone go about getting an appraisal for those specific pieces? Derek, would that be you?
sure. So as an appraiser, you want to make sure that whoever you hire as an appraiser is not an expert, but versed in, for example, I wouldn't write an Asian art assignment. I wouldn't take it on. I would refer an Asian art appraiser to take that on. And by the way, Chinese is selling hotter than, it's still as hot as it was. So Chinese art is still very hot. We just sold a painting for $500,000. So Chinese is still very, very hot. And it warrants an appraisal as well.
Interesting. What about cameras? I mean, you know, we all take our phones now. We take pictures with our phones. Does anyone want to buy a camera?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, great. I'm just I'm getting questions on my texting and also online on Zoom. Well, are there any? I'll take one more question before we wrap up. In the meantime, I'm going to direct all of our wonderful attendees today to the poll icon, the polls icon at the bottom. There's 3 little bars. If you click on that, it's like the evaluation that we usually leave on your seats at the library. So we'd love you to take a quick minute to answer that poll and give us feedback, because that helps us do even better next time. And then we'll be following up with everyone, as we mentioned, and we will provide all the wonderful sponsors. I know today we've got Diane with Live Home on the line. Live Home is in-home care, and they will do transportation. They'll do short amounts of time to, you know, full-time live-in care. So Live Home is here. So thank you for being on the call. We've got Tammy Broski. She is also a sponsor with Clear, and she also offers move management and organization. And they're awesome to work with too. We have got, let's see, I think I saw Martha Eccles with now Mutual of Omaha Mortgage, and they are specialists in reverse mortgage and reverse mortgage for purchase, which is, you know, we're going to talk about that probably later in the year as well. I did interview, I interviewed all the sponsors, by the way, and you can go to the SavvySeniorsLiving.com website, and we're getting the videos up of all the interviews that I did with all of our sponsors one-on-one, so you can get to know who they are a little bit better, because they're all excellent at what they do. And so today we don't have everyone on the line, but we've got Horizon Law. They do estate planning and elder law. We also have Oakmont of Concord de Montecito. They are assisted living. And the Heritage Downtown is independent living in downtown Walnut Creek. Byron Park is right on Tice, and they offer independent as well as assisted living. Atria, they've got the 3 locations here in Lafayette and 2 in Walnut Creek, and they also offer different levels of care. Some of these also offer memory care as well. Who am I missing? My platinum sponsor is Annalise Morris with the Morris Group at Merrill Lynch, and they do a wonderful job with financial advising and planning, and helping you to protect that nest egg that you work so hard for. The Dana Wilson Real Estate Team is also a sponsor of this series. And I know I'm forgetting somebody. If you're online and you want to raise your hand, let me know. I apologize if I'm forgetting somebody, but let me see. We've got a couple other questions. Do not see the poll. There's a little poll at the very bottom of the screen. It says polls, and you've got to hover over that bottom, column down there. All right. And any other questions? People are asking for information handout. So yes, again, we will provide all the information for all of our wonderful panelists today. And then, of course, if anyone wants additional information, you have a question you didn't get answered, we're all here for you. So call me, 925-788-6582, and we will make sure that you get all the information you need. You can also call my assistant, Pamela Rattery, at 925-899-4049. In fact, I'm going to ask that you call Pamela. She will be able to get you in touch with people sooner, probably. 925-899-4049. And Derek, Vicki, and Jennifer, I cannot thank you enough. You guys are awesome. You are all working and helping people through COVID, as we are as well. And let's just hope that things get back to a more normal. I don't want the new normal. I want the normal. So I just wish you guys all well, and everyone that attended today, be safe, stay home, be healthy. We're thinking of you. We're here for you. And if we can help you in any way, let us know. So thank you again, panelists, for all that you do. You're awesome, and I love being in business with you. And until next month, first Wednesday of August, we will have our next Zoom seminar, and we're thinking of, and we're hoping that we can meet again in person this fall, back at the library, following protocols. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again, and until next time, air hug.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.